Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life. Welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. I am your host, Madison Malloy, and on today's episode, we are sitting down with author, speaker, and high performance coach, Jairek Robbins, who is also the son of Tony Robbins, but is doing unbelievable things in the AI space to help optimize the workday, the workflow, and women's health specifically. So this is a fascinating conversations about cycles and how we should be working and how we can actually use AI to improve our lives and not be scared of it, but to embrace it, to enhance our lives so we can enjoy more of the fruits of our labor. So with that being said, we will be right back after this brief message with our guest on Next to Madison. Hi, it's your host, Madison Malloy. For those of you who don't know, I've written and created a powerful collection of books to help you build confidence, shift your mindset, and attract the life you truly want. From Time to Lighten the F Up, to Affirm and Flourish, Color Your Way to Abundance, and more. These aren't just books, they're tools for transformation. Grab a copy now on Amazon or at madisonmalloy.com. Now back to the show. Okay, we are back with our unbelievable guest today on this episode of Next to Madison. In studio, we've got speaker, author, high performance coach, and also comedian and soon to be safari guide, Jairek Robbins. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am good. I'm so excited to have you on here. So we're just going to briefly touch just so people who don't know you can get to know you. So you are actually the son of Tony Robbins.
Sure.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, sure. So
one of them. Yeah.
So tell us like how it was real quickly, like growing up with him and how that kind of shaped to where you are today.
Yeah. I had three people that shaped most of my personality. Well, I don't know if they shaped my personality. They shaped who I am. My mom was one of them. She was, to sum her up, she wasn't good with finances, but had huge heart.
Okay.
And so I remember like she'd have a $5,000 credit card limit and it'd be maxed out and she'd pay down $500 and call me and say, honey, I have $500 available if you need anything.
Aw.
I'd be like, Mom, that's definitely not how a credit card works. You're negative 4,500. You're not up 5. But thank you. That's really sweet. And then we'd go out to lunch and she'd look out the window and see someone, who's hungry. And she'd buy a $50 gift card with her credit card balance and then go give it to them so they had food.
What an unbelievable person.
I was like, that's cool, man. Like, you were horrible with money, but my God, you're great with heart.
Yeah.
And it was something I learned where it's like, no matter how much you have, you can still find a way to take care of people around you. And that was like a major life lesson to me that stuck. My grandma, she was someone, she just passed away a couple of weeks ago. So a little tender in heart. I'm sorry. But she was someone who grew up where things weren't really fair. She was in Southern California back in the day when there's kind of lines of what color your skin depended on what side you could hang out on. And she told me stories when she was a kid and there was a community pool that she would want to go to with her friends. And they'd go there and they'd let the, brown and black kids swim, which she was one of those. And then afterwards they get out and they'd kind of bleach the pool so that it would be clean before the white kids got in.
Oh my gosh.
Like, wow, they did stuff like this. Like, one, that's really toxic for those other kids, but even more toxic mentally and emotionally for the kids who had to go through that.
Yeah.
Fast forward, my great grandpa on that side always had like a tailor shop or a coffee shop, little businesses. He'd save up money by investment properties. And she told me a story one time. He was just bullheaded and stubborn, but he bought an investment property on the other side of those lines. And they said, hey, you can't buy stuff on this side. And he was like, whatever. So he bought it. And the next day they burn it down.
Oh,
it was like, wow, rough. And so she grew up not fair, not easy, nothing handed to her. Fast forward, she went through, rough batch in a relationship with my grandpa. She was with him for like 60 something years, had 5 kids, raised all 5 kids. Eventually, back in the day, a woman's job was being a secretary. So she became a secretary at the Chamber of Commerce and took her location to the #1 in the country. Fast forward, got into sales. And then in her office, they were putting in boxes the other day, but in her office, she had a wall that was covered from floor to ceiling in first place plaques from every company she ever worked with in sales for 40 years. She had the key to the city of Los Angeles, Businesswoman of the Year. She was on the cover of Newsweek magazine, did all these incredible things. And the thing I picked up from her was no matter what cards life hands you, play those things to win.
Yeah.
And I watched, and she did. I was like, holy crap. Like, she went through a lot. Like, that wasn't fair at all. And I'll talk about something else a little bit later, but I remember just year over year over year, I was a kid and she'd put me in a suit and take me to work with her to go do sales. And I mean, she taught me like a part of her presentation at 5 years old and used to let me do it with her. So it was hilarious. But I remember weekends like licking envelopes and writing them the address to her clients and mailing them. So I grew up with her. But I remember her coming home countless times, just bawling because some guy in the office would use some sly remark or undercut her or do something to try to make her less than when she was working her face off to try to succeed and take care of her family.
Yeah.
And there's something about that I want to talk about in a little bit, but I remember that and her attitude of just doesn't matter. Take what you have, find a way to win with it. And then dad definitely shaped who I am. And the concept of, I remember meeting a friend of his years ago in Los Angeles who knew my mom and dad when they were like 17. And my first question was like, what was he like? No, what was he really like? Like, was he goofy? Was he weird? Like, tell me about him. And she's like, he was different. I'm like, go on. Like, go on, tell me more. What do you got that I don't know yet? And she goes, no, I remember one Thanksgiving, he got in a fight with your grandma, my grandma, and she kicked him out. He was living in his car. So we were going to have a Friendsgiving. And so all the friends were coming over 5:30 p.m. And your mom came, my other friend came, and he was supposed to be, but he didn't show up. We were like, where is this guy? Like, he certainly didn't go home. He just got in a fight with your grandma. Like, he lives in his car right now. So and he doesn't have any other friends. Like, we're his friends. So where the hell is he? And they couldn't figure it out. And a couple hours later, he rolls up and they poked him. They're like, where were you? And he's like, I was just doing this thing. And they're like, no, like, dude, you don't have any other friends. You're homeless. You're living in your car and your mom kicked you out. So you're not there. Where were you? And he just wouldn't give it up. And he finally goes, just doing this thing. And so she poked him a few more times and he finally told her. He goes, someone did something for my family years ago when we were kind of down and out. And so I've always made it a point to do it for others on Thanksgiving. So I save up money and I go help people in need. And she said, I looked him straight in the face. I'm like, are you stupid? You're in need. You're homeless. You live in your car. Like, what's wrong with you? And he was like, no, like a family, like people who really need it. And she's like,
wow.
Yeah, I think something was off because he was homeless and still saving money to feed people. And I started laughing. I'm like, that's dad. That's him too. My mom and him have the same heart, that caring, regardless of what you have or not. But you fast forward, and he went from that to, he always fed people over Thanksgiving, got bigger and bigger. But now he did a million meal challenge, which was wild, and he pulled it off. And then he was like, I'm going big. I went a 1 billion meal challenge that he was going to donate 1 billion meals in 10 years. He did it in 8.
Wow.
And then you fast forward again, that, he wanted to really challenge himself. So he's doing 100 billion meal challenge. And in, I think 2.5 or 3 years he's at now, he's up to 62 billion meals contributed to the project.
That's amazing.
Mind-boggling. A homeless kid who my grandma kicked out of the house, who was sleeping in his car, who was saving money when he was dirt poor and had nothing to go feed people, somehow figured out how to run the full spectrum of life and land on the side now where he's pulled off trying to feed 100 billion meals to people. It's pretty freaking cool. So I looked at him and said, wow, if you want it, anything's possible in life if you really go after it.
Yeah. Well, he seemed that he always, no matter what, had an abundant mindset.
I hope so. I don't know. I wasn't around I wasn't around every day, night and morning. He certainly wanted to help others as a repayment from someone who helped him.
That's amazing though. But so you grew up with just big heart and great role models.
Yeah, people who are driven, people who have big heart, people who dreamed big and went after stuff.
Yeah.
And so, it gives you that opportunity to look at life and be like, well, I guess anything's possible if you want it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess whatever hand you're dealt, doesn't matter if it's fair or not, figure out how to win with it. And can you take care of the people around you in the process?
Yeah. No, that's an amazing story. So growing up with him, was he constantly motivating you to do well in school and go after your dreams? And
dude was on the road 365 days a year. We didn't have this back then. If he wanted to talk to you, he had to fly to Tennessee. And he wasn't well known. He was building a brand back then. So for him to build a brand, he had to get on a plane and drive in a car and go from office to office, city to city, door to door to do that work. Nowadays, we're blessed with the internet. My wife and I live between Cape Town and Puerto Rico, and our business runs just the same if we're out in safari in Tanzania and Kenya, or if we're here at our home in our office here.
That's amazing.
Nothing changes in our world thanks to the internet.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I'll give you some interesting facts, though, something to think about of what's going on in the modern world that I find fascinating.
Okay.
Earth has been around, I don't know, I think it's 4.6 billion years, like billions of years. Humans in modern form, roughly 300,000 years. Do you know how long the modern workday has been around? Like 9 to 5, 5 days a week?
Didn't that start in the 1900s?
Yeah, 100 years on the year. So 100 years ago, it was implemented.
So right before the Depression.
There you go. That it was, this is how we're going to do it. 9 to 5, 5 days a week.
Wow.
Here's what's wild about that. I'll give you go on a side quest real quick and then I'll put them back together. Do you know anyone in your life, a male, a guy that you met in his 20s and you've also known him now at 50? Have you seen anyone do that transition as a guy?
Like the 9 to 5 from the time they got out of college?
No. From 20 years old to 50 years old.
Working.
Just how they're a different guy. Like they're usually a little slower, usually a little wiser.
Yeah.
They're usually less like aggressive around stuff. They kind of mellow down.
Yep.
They have a different level of intensity. Part of what's happening is their testosterone is shifting 20% over 30 years.
Okay.
Here's why that matters. Bring that back. A woman's testosterone fluctuates 25x every 4 weeks, give or take.
Oh, around the cycle.
So the amount that a dude changes in 30 years, and he's a different human, happens rhythmically for a woman. And the amount in 30 years that he goes through, she does roughly every 4 weeks, give or take. Every woman's different, but rough estimate.
These are fascinating facts. Wow.
It's very fascinating. All the common modern workplace was built on a circadian rhythm, which is a hormone reset that happens every 24 hours. None of it took into account an infradian rhythm, which is a 28-day rhythmic 4-stage cycle.
Okay.
My wife and I built something, and I've gotten to know her better in the last 30 days than I have in the last 14 years of knowing her, because I've been learning the 4 stages she goes through every month. And I've been watching something very unique happen. When her estrogen and progesterone, her estrogen swings 10x throughout the month, up and down. When estrogen and progesterone fall off a cliff for her, she's a very ambitious person. Her and my dad are very similar. Moon's the limit. Beyond that, I'll still keep going. I can do anything. Give me it. There's certain days of the month I blink twice, and she's accomplished more in 2 blinks than I can in like a week.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Super ambitious, super driven. But then there's other days of the month where psychologically she's ready to go at the same intensity, but her estrogen and progesterone fall off a cliff and her body doesn't move. And I asked her, when I saw that happen by tracking it and learning about it, I was like, whoa, do you feel stressed right now? And she's like, no, I don't feel stressed. And I said, well, help me understand. What does stress look like to you? And she's like, stress is like when your hair is exploding and you're like, ah. And I was like, no, that different kind of stress. Imagine we got in the car and you put your foot firmly down on the brake and held the car, did not let it move. And then at the same time, pushed the gas pedal all the way down. And your engine would just go, you'd be stressing the engine of your vehicle. And I said, is that what it feels like? And she goes, oh my God, that's exactly what it feels like. And I said, that's stress. That's when your body, your hormones fell off a cliff. So your body's got the brake on hard and it ain't going to move. You need a blanket and the, Ben and Jerry's. You're not going to do nothing. You're locked in. But your mind looks at your calendar and says, why am I not doing 10,000 things? 2 days ago, I could do 10,000 things. Why can't I do it right now? That's the end. That's the gas pedal all the way down.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's gnarly. I didn't know that was happening over 14 years of knowing you. Holy smokes. And then, I don't know about you, but I saw all this stuff going around of would you choose the bear or the man? And sadly, it sounded like most women were choosing the bear, at least in the United States. And that blew my mind.
And what do you mean by
wow.
the bear and the man?
Oh, you didn't see it?
No.
Oh my God. There was this whole thing online. They said, if you got lost in the woods, would you rather be lost with a man or a bear?
Well, a bear, because it could protect me.
Well,
against
most
other
women
wild
chose
animals.
the bear because they don't want to deal with men at this moment in history.
Oh.
Men have pissed them off so long and so consistently that they're like, screw the man, I'll take the bear. And most men are like, are you shitting me? A bear will eat you. You will not survive with a bear. And they're like, I don't care. I'm taking the bear.
Wow.
And so women are choosing the bear. Okay. But I'm starting to understand why. I didn't understand why. And I've never been a like, burn it down kind of guy. But what's wild is in what I'm starting to understand, if that's what it feels like, and I don't know what it feels like. I'm just listening and watching my wife go through it. I'm like, if that's what most women are feeling like, that a modern work world never took into account a 4-part cycle that rhythmically changes, they expect you to perform at the same level this week as next week. And everything's different. Your estrogen, progesterone falls off a cliff. Your testosterone spikes or falls 25x, which takes 30 years for a man to experience, but 4 weeks for you rhythmically.
Wow.
If all that's going on, no shit, you're choosing the bear. That makes sense. Like that's wild experience. And here's what's wild.
Yeah.
I bet a week or two later, as the cycle shifts, you might choose the man. And as it shifts again, you might choose the bear. But more importantly, if you're forcing yourself, the term that I heard was, it's like pushing a boulder up a hill. If you're forcing yourself to push a boulder up a hill rhythmically for years of your life in a system that wasn't built to support your natural rhythms, I'd start to get irritated at a soul level too.
Yeah.
And so my thought was, could we rebuild a system that actually honors that whole process? And then Jamie Dimon, the guy from Chase Manhattan, came on the other day, and on Wall Street Journal, he said, with AI coming out, there's a strong possibility that young people will be having a 3-day work week because AI will take over most of the rest of it. And I said, my gosh, there might be an opportunity. Yeah. There might be an opportunity that if AI can take the majority of the heavy lifting and all the rhythmic tasks off our plate, that we could actually rewrite the week to week to honor the natural rhythms that 47% of the workforce goes through.
That would be fascinating. So what are you working on right now to help put that in place?
First is understanding. So my wife and I built this thing called peakher.ai. So we built this, and every day I follow her around and I'm like, okay, where's your energy? And she tells me and I log it. Where's your confidence? And I log it. How'd you sleep? Log it. What was the last one? Stress. Where's your stress? Okay, give me 5 words that tell me kind of how you feel. And I put it in. And then I wish I could share it on the screen, but it gives me this report. I think she's okay with it. I could read you this morning's report.
Okay.
Where is it?
Here it is. Amazing.
Yeah, this morning said, for her specifically, your brain just got a fresh software update. Estrogen is climbing and bringing your energy, creativity, and optimism with it. This is your inner spring, and everything feels a little more possible. Use this momentum to plant seeds for what you want to grow. And then it goes through work and productivity, what to do and what not to do, fitness and movement, what to do, what not to do, nutrition and fuel, what to do, what not to do, relationship and social. And then it has a little fact at the bottom. During the follicular phase, your hippocampus memory center actually increases in volume. You literally have more brain capacity for learning right now. So make sure to use it well.
Wow.
So it literally gives her insight to what's going on for today based on her natural rhythms. Then we're getting it linked up to her calendar so that if her hormones are about to fall off a cliff on Wednesday and she has a big pitch or a big networking meeting or something on Thursday, it'll tell her ahead of time, you're going to want to move that. That is not the day for that. Like move that, reschedule all that you can, because your body's going to have your brake on, even though your mind's going to be all gas. And so, and vice versa. Or next Tuesday, this is your moment to shine. I noticed on Thursday, you have your big investor meeting. See if they can move it to Tuesday, because you are going to have the best version of you present right then and there.
That is amazing. So have you introduced or shown this to any companies to try to see if, they can implement it to increase their productivity? Not yet.
It's almost on the App Store this week. So we're locally testing it. We have a handful of beta testers that we're working with right now just to get the experience.
But I want to talk. Yeah. And I want to talk about, you mentioned testosterone and then the different hormones. So a lot of people are on hormone replacement therapies.
Yep.
I am included in that. I was feeling really off. I couldn't focus. I thought I had ADD. Went and got my hormones tested. Turns out it was dangerously low testosterone, which I thought, well, that's normal. I'm a girl. But you need a certain level. So I went on the pellets, the testosterone, and changed my life. Now you got to really watch it, because once it goes off a cliff, it's very sad. And then you got to get it back up. But a lot of men are doing all these TRT. So how does this affect my work performance based on my,
So I'll go on. I'm not a medical professional. I'm going to be very careful in making any bold statements. I'm sure there's a million doctors who can come correct me, and I hope they do, because I'd love to chat with them and hopefully get them on our board.
Yeah.
I'll start with that.
Okay.
What I've noticed is, and my wife said this, when we started, so there was a morning she woke up, she's training for a triathlon. She's built a farm school up a road for my son so he could have outdoor school in nature instead of indoor school in a classroom. We thought it would be him and 3 friends and a teacher. It's maxed out. All the parents heard about it. They overfilled the school instantly because they want their kids outside in nature learning too. She also helps run one of our other businesses and does the marketing for this business and our other business that we're running. So she in no way, shape, or form is leisurely doing nothing. She's doing everything in the moon and back.
Yeah.
Here's what's interesting. When she started using this, there was a day where she had to do triathlon training in the morning, and she wasn't feeling it. And we didn't know why. She just wasn't feeling it. So she did what any driven person does. She puts on her motivational tracks. She has that dude saying, like, the only way to find out if you're committing is if your leg falls off and you still run a marathon. And that's how you know you are committed. You got to be hungry in life if you want success, like this stuff. So she's all fired up and ready to go. And right when she jumps on the treadmill, I'm like, wait a minute, I forgot to do the morning check-in. I do the little check-in and get the report. And the report says, today you're in this part of your cycle. The best thing you can do is honor your body with slow rhythmic movement. Think walking, yoga, like spa day, something to honor your body. In the do not list, do not try to do a personal best record today. Do not do any HIIT training. Do not do any heavy lifting. You're going to burn down muscle instead of build up muscle.
Wow.
And I looked at her. I said, what are you going to do? And she's like, well, I got to get the training in. I don't have a choice. And I made a video jokingly of like, do we listen to our hormones? No. Do we listen to our bodies? Hell no. Yeah. We do whatever the fuck we want. Why? Because we're in charge. And she's like, when you say it like that, it sounds really silly. Like, it does sound really silly. And I have a weird feeling some people, when they're needing testosterone replacement and the doctors are going to hammer me for this, it might be because on days like that, she thinks she should always be able to be on, and therefore something's wrong with her, when in reality, she's just not honoring the natural rhythms because she doesn't even know what's happening. Wow. Her and I have learned, she's learned a lot too, where she's like, I didn't know that was supposed to happen like that. I didn't know I was supposed to do this. And she said the sweetest thing in the world, I think like 3 days ago. She said, this is the first time in 42 years of my entire life that I finally feel like I'm not fighting myself every day.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. And I went, ain't that something?
Yeah.
I said, what does that mean? She said, you saw me on the treadmill. My body was saying, I'm not running. But my head was like, you better run because we're training for this and we're going to do well. Mm-hmm. And that disconnect between honoring what was actually happening chemically and hormonally in her body versus mentally pushing herself to do something because that's how it's been. That's why I went back to the normal workday. For 100 years, that's just the way it is. We all do 9 to 5. We all show up and work 5 days a week. That's just what we do. No, we don't. That's brand new in human history. We've been around 300,000 years. It's only been around 100 years. That's an experiment.
So what did people do previously to this? Did they wasn't it sun up to sundown?
No, that was some of it.
Okay.
But some of it, a lot of it. So work before all that jazz, if you have to go back a little bit further than 100 years, but work oftentimes was people working together within their households for a family trade, something they had of value that they brought literally on the weekends or days to the marketplace to barter and trade for other things for the opportunity to go live the life they wanted to live.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, back then, let's say, you did wagon wheels and I did horseshoes. And I said, okay, I'll trade you 12 horseshoes for a wagon wheel. We did the trade. There'd be no use for me having 185 billion wagon wheels. Mm-hmm. Like logistically speaking, where the hell are you going to put 185 billion wagon wheels? That doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. That'd be a radical waste of time and effort and anything else.
Yeah.
But because we've converted wagon wheels to currency and we can hold it in a bank on this little digital code, now people are trying to get 180 billion wagon wheels of value to store in their little account because it gives them more access to stuff.
Right.
That would be stupid in most of history.
Wow.
But we live in this really funky little time that we've convinced each other this is how it's always been and this is just how life is.
Well, it kind of started
300,000 years. This is all brand new.
Well, yeah, because Rockefeller had a lot to do with this, right? He kind of changed the education system to, have it to train people to be more of an employee versus a, entrepreneur. And then we just got trained. You work 9 to 5. But then it became this grind culture where people are like, you only work 9 to 5? I work 8 to 8, and it was like this competition. I remember when I first started on Wall Street, if you weren't pushing 70, 80 hours a week, you were a slacker. And it's like, no wonder everybody burns out.
I'll change the dynamic. There's two dynamics at play. So I posted something the other day that I was helping businesses in the 3 to 10 million range, scale to 100 million. And someone wrote, my God, why do people think money is going to make them happy?
Oh, okay.
That had nothing to do with the post, but I agree with her. So I wrote back, that's a really stupid conclusion. I don't think money will ever make people happy. I don't know why you would think that. And she wrote back, I don't think that money people are happy, but obviously you're talking about 3 million to 10 million to 100 million. So greed is a nasty trap, ain't it? And I said, let me help you see this in the way I see it. If I worked my entire youth to get into the NBA, and millions of young people try, a few hundred or 1,000, I don't know how many are there, 1,200, I think, 1,200 people get in and make it on the team. Not the best, they're just on the team. But that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like you're in the top, 5% of basketball players on earth if you can make it in the NBA. I don't know if that fact's true. Someone fact check me and put it in the comments. But you're in a very high percentage of basketball players if you can make it into the league.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating about that, though, is imagine getting into the league and someone telling you, why do you have to shoot so many 3 points? Like, why don't you just do 3 to 5 a game and call it a day?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, that's stupid. The point of playing the game is to find out how many you can make. And there's a opposition that's trying to prevent you from making, and they're trying to make as many on you. So the game is to find out what's possible.
Yeah.
Every time you play. And I said, some people look at business like a game. It's not trying to make money to survive. Lots of people are in that position, which I totally get. My mom and dad definitely were in that when they were young. Mm-hmm. And I went through it my own way. I understand that part of the game, but once you hit a certain stage of the game, it's no longer about work to eat. They're playing a game. They're just trying to find out what's physically possible. How much is possible? How much can you do? How far can you go? How many 3 points can Michael Jordan make in a single quarter? They're just trying to figure out what's possible. So that's a doctor saying, I wonder how many people I could help today. Mm-hmm. That's a dentist saying, I wonder how many people I can help, straighten and clean their teeth and keep them healthy. That's a local deli owner saying, I wonder how many people I can feed today and love on and take care of.
Yeah.
And so in my business, it's the same thing. It's saying, I wonder how many people I could help have more time, more money, more free time.
Yeah.
Now, in my world, I have my own sensitivities and wounds because my dad was on the road busting his butt to build a business and brand all those years.
Yeah.
I have that wound of like, God, he was always working. So I want to like physically be around my son 24/7 to make sure he doesn't have that experience because it wasn't very good as a kid.
Yeah.
And so on that side, my belief is AI might be able to help us recreate the natural rhythms where we don't have to be chained to a desk 9 to 5, proving we can work, 17 hours a day to each other, but instead actually be living life and making memories with people we love. And it might honor women, 47% of the workforce. It might honor them better to get out of this constant trying to force yourself into something that's not the natural rhythm of your body. And on the final part, it might give us an opportunity for those people who want to play the game purely to play the game. Go for it. Run to the moon and back and go to Mars. Who cares what you want to do?
Yeah.
And for others who want to go as far as they need to have enough to eat and live a good life and then invest all their extra time into the ones they love. Yeah, let's do that. And that's just a reflection of your values.
I love this. No, I think this is great because this is a different conversation than most people are having around AI, because a lot of people are saying like AI is going to take jobs and you're going to be out of a job.
Stupidest approach. I was talking to a guy who used to be the right-hand man of the CEO of Microsoft. He's a friend of mine.
Okay.
And him and I agree. We're humanists. So we believe team human. And when we looked at it, I was like, my God, could you imagine trying to convince 33,000 people to come and work with you on a project? You got to come up with a project that's interesting enough. You got to sit through thousands of hours of interviews to find out who's good and who's not and weed out all the turds and only keep the ones who are great.
Yeah.
And then you finally build this incredible team of humans. And let's say you're in the art business and this thing called NFTs come out and you're like, oh my God, NFTs are going to be the biggest thing ever. Fire everybody because NFTs are the future. And then a few years later, you find out Justin Bieber probably overpaid for his Bored Ape.
Yeah.
And you got to go somehow convince 33,000 people to come back and work with you again.
Yeah.
That's pretty stupid.
So how do you think that these major companies are going to handle this? I mean, they're obviously going to...
I think they're definitely doing that. And I don't think...
Like downsizing a little bit.
If you watch the articles, they're doing it. It's in motion. But Salesforce already had trouble with this. Salesforce let go a ton of people, found out that AI wasn't quite where they thought it was and had to rehire a bunch of those people back.
Wow.
And so what a mess. And here's my thought, though. My thought would be humans plus AI will give you superpowers. I could take a bookkeeper and for the people I work with, I put out statements of replace a $500 an hour consultant for $500 a month. People are like, okay, so what are the consultants going to do? And I said, okay, that's a good catchy tagline, but let me show you what I really mean. Could the lady who runs a business in Kansas City that made $800,000 in revenue and runs at 20% profit, could she have access finally to a CMO that normally costs $200,000 a year plus some type of equity? Could she also have access to a CFO who'd take $180,000 a year to have on her team? Could she have access to, insights of how the best CEOs would approach strategy and vision? Yeah. Could she have access to a top tier sales manager that can look at her leads and pipeline and help qualify her leads, can help nurture, and build a system to really optimize her lead flow and conversion? All of those jobs, if we stacked all of them, it's like $780,000 a year.
Yeah.
Her total revenue was $800,000 a year. McKinsey won't pick up the phone for a business of that size. I mean, they take a $50,000 a month retainer fee. Like they don't touch $800,000 a year businesses with 20% margin.
Right.
Like that's none of their business. They have no interest in that.
Yeah.
So my thought is maybe this is the equalizer for small and medium-sized businesses to finally have access to the knowledge and tools that were never available to them before.
I like that. I love that you're bringing like more of a positive light. Like the thing is that I think a lot of the conversations that are out there are kind of a doomsday conversation with AI is replacing jobs and these people will be out of jobs, instead of like you are, where it's like, no. People adjust. There's going to be new jobs created. There's going to be more money created. We're going to have better quality of life because all that mundane stuff that's sucking up so much time and energy is now going to be able to be automated.
Hopefully that's the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something we do. Like I took a client of ours. It's a husband and wife. They own 4 businesses together. They have 2 young girls, and they always feel guilty that they're not spending as much time with their girls as they want to. And I said, okay, what's the one bottleneck you do that eats up 20 hours a week in your businesses?
Okay.
I don't know if we can automate it, but let's find out. And so we found out that food cost management, inventory management, logging all the receipts of the orders that come in, going online and finding out what the current price is of every type of block of cheese and mayonnaise or whatever they use, and then going back to their website, recalculating the margin and updating the price of every single thing that they sell to maintain their margin so that they can at least break even or make a little profit every month as a business times 4.
Yeah.
4 different companies. That was taking 20 hours a week of his time.
Wow.
I sat down. I was like, I'm new to this, just like you are. It's AI. Everyone's kind of figuring it out, but let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
We built, I think, 7 agents customized for their business. One that checks prices every 30 minutes. It shoots out and checks all the real-time prices. Another one that scans an email box and logs all the receipts that he puts in and automatically puts them in his system. A CFO that monitors his margin at all times and throws up an alert if it ever starts to get too thin on any one product. Something that used to take him 20 hours a week takes him 15 minutes a day now.
That's amazing. So what's he doing with that bonus 20 hours he got back?
Hanging out with his girls.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah,
so
that's what he wanted to do.
Happier.
He's like, I don't want to miss ballet recitals. I don't want to miss seeing them, at the end of every day. I don't want to be the dad that, I love you, bye, gives them a kiss, and then you don't see them until they're lying in bed. Love you, hope you had a good day. Like, that's not investing time with little ones. Like, I want to be there. I want to hang out with them. I want to go for the walks. I want to play at the playground. I want to do all this stuff. He really wants to. And so we're freeing up that time so they have more time with each other and the little ones. And health, that's also on his list. And he regularly doesn't have time to work out because he's so busy trying to keep all this stuff moving. Mm-hmm. So he gets time to work out. He gets time to be with his spouse. He gets time to be with his girls. It's beautiful.
I love this. And it's amazing because, you're known as like a high performance coach, but this is taking it in a totally more elevated, different direction in a way for you.
Yeah. Well, I finally have tools that I can use to actually help fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
I could teach strategy or theory or how to approach it or, the mindset you need to do it. But now we have stuff we can actually deploy. And so we've broken them into head, like brain thinkers. Those are your CFO, CMO, COO. Yeah. They're the thinkers who can give you high level strategy. Then we broke them into hands, the doers that can actually log in and pull the cost analysis and run the numbers and do some of the work. And then the third category is really important that most people aren't paying attention to, which is heart. And heart is where AI is off limits. This is the part of the business that only we can do. And we don't want AI messing with it. I don't want AI trying to figure this part out. These are the conversations with the ones we care about. They're the tough conversation with a teammate or a great conversation with the client. I don't want AI messing with that. No. That's where, the relationship really makes the difference and matters. That's where the humans should be at all times. So think brain, hands, heart. And the brain and the hands, we can do a lot with right now. The heart, that's where humans need to stay and own their space.
No, absolutely. So for people that are scared that their job's going to be replaced and they won't be able to find another job, what kind of advice would you give them to motivate them to either find something else or stay positive?
Yeah, I don't know about motivating them, but if I was in a relationship and found out the person I'm in a relationship doesn't want to be in a relationship with me, I'd probably go find another relationship.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Because that's what jobs are at the end of the day.
It's a relationship between you and the business or you and the owner, or depends on what size it is.
Yeah.
But it's a relationship. And so if you're in a relationship with someone that doesn't want to be in a relationship, go find someone who does want to be in a relationship with you and values you and honors your strengths and passions and dreams and be with them because they really honor and value you.
That's amazing. No, it's very well said. So, well, this is amazing. So this is kind of taken the forefront of like what you're doing. Mainly is with the AI.
I don't do that very often. My wife and I were semi-retired. So every now and then something comes around that's worth doing. And this one caught my attention and hers too. She sees it and I'm like, maybe we'll do this over the next couple of years. She's like, at the rate this is moving, you got 3 months, figure it out and make it go live.
No,
And
it's true
so
because it is so fast. But I just had no idea, and my mind is blown about the different hormone levels. Obviously, I knew that women's cycles, body
yeah,
changes, and you go
I
through
didn't know this
things.
either. I've been going through a fire hose of research and information and learning rapidly. And my mind is rhythmically and consistently blown about this information. And here's what I'm finding.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's awkward. I hope it's not. I apologize to all my wife's girlfriends who come over to the house because I'll hear a girl's voice and be like, "Did you know?" And I'll start saying something. And I'm very lucky. We have a really great community of other families and moms and dads around here. And I've learned that some of them who regularly study this are like, "Oh my gosh, yes, this is amazing." And lots of them have been like, "No, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh, really?" And I'm like, mansplaining a woman's biology is certainly not my goal here.
Right.
So hopefully, like, and when I did the first presentation after my wife had helped me understand this stuff, I was like, "Okay, you're going to have to present it." And she was like, "Yeah, probably. I don't think this is going to go well if a guy presents this info." And then we had a friend over who came up, and she definitely was on the Bears team at some point.
Okay.
she's voiced her opinion of Team Bear. And she's older. She's 62, 63 years old. And I said, "Can I just share something with you? I just want an honest opinion." And she's a no BS lady. Like, she will roast you if she thinks something different.
Okay.
And I took her through this little presentation of 10, 15 slides of all the information I learned and how the workforce was never set up to honor women's cycles, and how gosh, I wish I had the stat. I can get the stat for you real quick. How many women would like support in this, but have never been offered it in the workplace whatsoever. This is a somewhat forbidden topic to even bring up at work.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And then I heard my wife told me something that made me just like, it shocked my nervous system. She said, if you ever want to hear something that'll break your heart, ask women what most of their first memory or experience was when it first happened in their life. And she goes, I remember when my mom basically was like, "Oh, Amanda's starting." That's my wife. And her mom walked in with a box of pads and kind of lobbed them to her and said, "Here, you need these," and then walked out.
Oh.
I was like, "That's it?" And she goes, "Yeah." And that's a good experience. And then I started talking to other friends and listening to their experience. And I was like, wow, there's some healing to be done in this category. And I shared it with one of my friends who is into this stuff. And she's like, "Jay, this will create healing even between mothers and daughters, like the ability to communicate with each other, the ability to talk through this topic in a knowledgeable and comfortable and relaxed way, the ability to understand how each other are feeling based on where they're at and how they're navigating it." I showed it to that client of mine in Louisiana who has the 4 businesses. And dead serious, he goes, "This is unbelievable. Can I get a group subscription discount?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I want it for my wife, my 2 daughters, my head chef, my delivery lady. Like, I need this for every woman in my life so I understand how best to support them in all the things that we're doing." And it was genuine. Like, he wasn't messing around.
Right.
He wants to know how he can better show up as a man. I've shared this with a handful of friends of mine who are husbands, and they're like, "Bro, one of them said something stupid. He's like, "Will it say she's pissed? Bring tacos. Don't ask." And I was like, "No, that'll piss off every woman. They're already choosing Team Bear. We don't need any more of that."
Yeah.
I said, "Here's what it could say. Little toggle that can a share feature where you can choose if you want to share or not. You don't have to.
Okay.
But if you toggle it on, it could ask, in this phase 1 of the cycle, what would you most need or want from your partner in this phase? Could you give me a few words to sum that up? Phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. And then turn it on or off. Do you want them to be notified? And for me as a husband, if 2 days before she's entering phase 2, I get a little message that says, "Hey, your wife's about to enter stage 2 in 24 to 48 hours. Here's what she said would make her feel most seen, most understood, and most loved in a moment like this." You could bet your life I will climb Mount Everest and back to deliver whatever she's asking for in that request, because I know what a difference it'll make for her in that exact moment.
This is unbelievable. I think that your app could reduce the divorce rate.
Maybe.
If men understood more how to, pardon me, how to support their women with what they need. But I think so many men have just been like, oh, it's her time of the month, stay away.
They don't know.
Right.
I mean, well, hold on. I'm not going to let all of them get away with they don't know. I think there's also a ton of idiots who you bring this topic up and they go, oh God, this stuff. Come on, be better.
Yeah.
Like, grow up, figure it out, show up better for other humans, period. Because they also do that stuff for any other topic a guy brings up. Like, there's a guy who's like, oh, I'm going through a rough time. And they're like, well, tough it up, douchebag. You're like, do better.
Yeah.
Do better. We've evolved past that. Like, get over it. And that same concept. So there's some guys who I'm not going to give them a pass. They're jerks. They haven't evolved yet. They need to. Mm-hmm. And we need to find some way to probably give them a big hug and let them know that feelings are okay to talk about.
Right.
And then there's a lot of other men, though, who would absolutely step up to the plate if you gave them a chance. And what I've learned about this is there's lots of women that don't even know this about themselves, much less men who figured this out.
I think I'm one of them. I know at some point, like when now that I have the hormones, I don't have as much of the mood swings around my cycle.
Sure.
But when the hormones start to drop off and the pellets need to be redone, that's when the depression and the sadness, and I need the hug and I want to be told I'm great. And,
totally.
But it's hard to express
What if you got a little alert? Hey, here's what's happening and here's how to best approach it. So you don't all of a sudden feel like something's wrong with you. You're like, oh, my estrogen just fell off a cliff. I'm going to feel a little sad. Here's best practices of what I can do to make sure I feel nurtured, seen, understood, and really warm and fuzzy right now instead of what the fuck is wrong with me? Yeah.
No, this is amazing. This is such a life-changing
healing. Like that gives the opportunity for someone to know themselves better. Mm-hmm. Wow, there's nothing wrong with me. My hormones just shifted. Okay. How do I best show up now that this shift has happened to honor what's there?
And how long do you realistically think that it will take the workforce, like corporate America, that's predominantly run by men, to support women in this type of journey? Like they have the data. It's like, okay.
It depends. So remember, 47% of the entire workforce is women. Mm-hmm. And so if 47% of the whole force gets on board with the ability to better understand the rhythms, and we start creating case studies that show, hey, like Jamie Dimon says, with a 3-hour work week, honoring the right rhythms, we produce 5x what we used to. So with less days, better support through AI and implementation, we get way more done. And you start to see whatever other side effects positively that can happen. And we can prove through case studies that it works. We can rewrite the system little by little. I don't think we'll be able to burn it down tomorrow and start over, but I think we will be able to build a bridge from where it's at now to a much better supportive environment.
That's amazing. And so do you think like when Jamie was talking about having a 3-day work week because AI can support a lot of the tasks, is the pay going to be the same or is the pay going to be affected?
I don't know. I didn't read that much more of the article. It just caught my attention. Where I was like, yes, he's onto it. He's totally not talking about what I'm talking about, but I agree with his sentiment, and I think it's possible. I really do.
Yeah, like as long as the pay stays the same or more. I could take a team of 5 people
and have them produce at the output of a level of 50. Now, some people say, oh, great, now they're going to expect that kind of output from us. They're just going to squeeze us even more. I was like, well, it depends on who you have a relationship with in business. I saw this quote the other day and said, when you stop thinking of the earth as something to... what did they say? When you stop looking at the earth as something to extract from, and instead it's something to have a relationship with, your entire experience of nature changes.
I love that.
And the first thing that came to my head said, same thing with your team.
Yeah. If
you think of your team as something you're trying to extract from, then you're going to squeeze every ounce of life out of them and then kick them to the side when they die. Mm-hmm. If you think of your team as something to have a relationship with, you're going to build your team and the systems to support them in an entirely different way.
Yeah. This is amazing. This is just fascinating. I mean, this is such revolutionary, life-changing for the better.
Hopefully.
So God bless you for doing what you're doing.
Thanks.
This is
I mean, it's this or the Terminator. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with AI. Clearly I'm taking this side. I'd rather not wake up and have T4 looking through my window with red eyes, like ready to blast me with a drone.
Yeah, exactly. I asked a tech guy one time that's kind of working on a lot of this technology. And I said, you know, are we concerned that it's going to go too soon, too fast, and then all of a sudden kind of take it over because it could lead into sentient beings? And he said, yes, but the problem is we can't stop because China, Russia, and all the other countries are continuing to go on. We can't do any legislation around that.
That's a good
we
excuse.
don't want to get wiped out by the Russian robots or the Chinese robots. So we've got
or the Martians. Or, well,
so,
they'll come up with a story either way to keep it going.
Yeah, but he said the one thing that scares me about them getting so much power, these robots, is that they could decide, you know what? We will operate faster and more efficiently if we have less oxygen. And they'll have the power to kind of pull it. And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. I said, this is why you live day to day sometimes. So you don't think too much. You know?
Yeah, those are the risks. You know, I don't know, 300,000 years we've been around as a species. I've heard people say maybe this isn't the first time it's been invented. Like maybe there's a reason the ice age happened. Maybe there's a reason, you know, tsunamis hit. Like maybe there's a reason this stuff. I kind of look at the earth as the same as our immune system. When something happens in our immune system that isn't healthy, it cleanses itself. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed the earth kind of do similar things. Like when humans start making too much ailment in parts of Mother Nature in too many places, Mother Nature starts to kind of shift to weed that stuff out and push the ailment aside. Yeah. So I don't know. I think there's natural living ecosystems that we're all a part of, and it's amazing. If you zoom out, I mean, we're 8 billion humans on a floating rock hurled through space.
That's crazy, right?
Worrying about taxes. Like, it's an interesting paradigm.
It's so true, right? Like the stuff we worry about and we think's important. And then when you zoom out, you're like, that's you. And you can't even see it. It's so small.
No. And the truth, think 300,000 years or 4.6 billion years. Yeah. I hope it's 4.6. Otherwise, I've said the wrong number way too many times. But if it is 4.6 billion years and we're here, 60 to 100? Mm-hmm. Like we're a little blink of dust that happened on the particle that's moving through space. And so it feels like we're important. Part of the reason my wife and I love going on safari and getting out into the wilderness, I read this quote. It said, I love getting around nature, especially the parts that remind me how small I am.
Yeah.
And I went, I know that feeling. That feeling when you stand next to an elephant or you stand next to a rhino that's like a prehistoric tank, or you stand next to a lion and you realize we're really small on the food chain. Like in our cities and houses and all this stuff, we feel like a big deal. But out in like nature, we're not a big deal. We are a part of a very large ecosystem, and we're a very small part of that ecosystem. And that ability, I've had chances. We were hanging out with the Maasai tribe. We had a really rough 24 hours when we arrived last year to go on a road trip. Okay. Within the first delay, we finally leave. We leave way too late. We're 10 kilometers away from our hotel. It's 11 p.m. at night, and we have this massive tire blowout on the main highway between Nairobi and Mombasa. And it's a very dangerous, extremely fast-moving, huge trucks like overtaking each other highway.
Wow.
And it's not a place you stop at night. Like it's a dangerous place to physically stop. So the tire blows out. We make it to this little patch of dirt on the side of the road. We get out of the car. We're looking for like snakes and scorpions to make sure we don't get bit or stung. We have our headlamps on and we're trying to figure out what the heck's going on with this tire. And then this little motorbike we see kind of comes winding down a dirt road near us and kind of it drives 2 circles around us. We're like, oh shit. And these little young guys pull up and they're from the Maasai tribe. And they're like, are you tourists? I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, thank God. I was like, why would you say that? And he's like, the only people that stop here are murderers and tourists. And we were hoping you weren't murderers.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, oh, that's funny. And he's like, oh no, I'm not joking. Like someone died the other week, was thrown in a bush over there. And I was like, okay, yeah, we would love your help actually.
Yeah. Like get us out of here.
Like the other thing you got to be worried about is there's a really aggressive elephant that lives just over the ridge over there. And you know, that one tends to attack people too. And I was like, can y'all help us with this tire, please?
Yeah.
So we put the car up on rocks and one of them was so excited. He's like, oh, I'm in school and I'm learning, vehicles. So I'm excited to show you. And him and I did the tire together. So sweet. But you fast forward and we were like, can you come to breakfast with us tomorrow? Like, thank you so much. And they were our angels in the middle of the night. So they came to breakfast with us and we were hanging out with them. And what was wild is we were like, what's it like growing up in the Messiah tribe and village? Like, and they're like, it's cool. And we were talking, we're like, aren't you guys afraid of the animals? Like you're walking around with a stick and there's elephants that apparently attack people and lions and stuff. And one of them said the sweetest thing. He's like, what's there to be afraid of? We're all part of the same ecosystem. They're just like us.
Wow.
I was like, they live differently. They think different. He's like, yeah, that elephant's part of the same ecosystem I am. Like, I'm not afraid of it. It's not afraid of me. It's my brother. Like, I was like,
wow.
Okay, I want my son to hang out with you guys more because you guys are doing something slightly different than most places.
That's amazing. And how old were these boys?
20, 22.
Wow. Just the level of emotional depth and maturity.
Yeah. Just connection with nature of like, yeah, why would you freak out over an animal? Like an animal is just like us. We're all part of the same ecosystem.
Wow. And so is that why you chose to live in Africa, is just to be closer to nature? And
that was a mistake, partially. Not a mistake. We love it there, but living there was I took my son for his 3rd birthday party, just for fun. We were going to celebrate and we were staying in Cape Town. Okay. I had just wrapped up a project with Success Magazine. They brought me in to fix something that was going on in their business. So worked a 1.5 years with them, got to go shoulder to shoulder with the guy who purchased the company. He had built a company from scratch to 180 billion a year. Wow. Had 1,700 employees. They were making, I think, 180 billion in sales, but they were making like 1.7 billion in revenue. Great guy. Him and I worked shoulder to shoulder. Really great experience as far as learning of how he scaled the business and his mindset and all that stuff. Yeah. But challenging experience when I've always had a small business of my own, make my own calendar, focus on whatever project I feel like, to now be injected into a 1,700 person machine that everything runs like clockwork and it's 1,000,000 miles an hour and more is always better. And the only way to keep the team focused is you got to keep pressure on them and constantly give them a next project. You don't want them to get distracted. This kind of nonsense. Yeah. Which doesn't work well with my nervous system. And so after 1.5 years, I was ready to move on. They found a new person. They brought her in, brought me out. Perfect. So we went to Cape Town to relax and just let my nervous system decompress. Yeah. And it was my son's birthday. So I was like, ooh, I asked my wife, you ever been on safari? She's like, no, but I've been to the zoo. And I was like, totally different. Yeah. Totally different. I promise you, different. Universe is a part of experience. And she was like, okay. And I was like, let me figure this out. Now, most safari parks, most places will not take a 3 or 4 year old. Too young. Like they need to be big and grown. For multiple reasons, safety, for comfort, to sit in a car still and not make any noise because an animal's nearby for a prolonged period of time. That's challenging for a young one. Right. Anyways, I was a little stubborn. I called probably 10 different places and one of them said, hey, you can stay here, but to do the safari, for the fairness of our other guests, you're going to have to rent a private truck. You can't go with the other guests just because they're on honeymoons and stuff. Like you don't want a kid with you. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And he's like, we can't promise it's available, but you're welcome to come. And if it's available, you can rent it and go do the trip. Okay. Anyways, fast forward. We went, we did it. We spent 3 days looking for elephants on 26,000 acres, which I didn't realize something so large could just straight disappear and you can't find it. Wow. I'm like, how can you not find a herd of elephants? There's 7 of them and they're as big as a truck. Like they just disappear somehow into the wilderness when they want to. So we spent 3 days driving around, found the lions, found the giraffes, found the rhinos, found the cheetahs, couldn't find the elephants. Final day, we packed up. We're driving out of this little protected area fence where they let us stay. And as we go out of the fence, we stop. It's raining, waiting for the fence to close. And we look up and my wife grabs my leg and goes, "Oh, don't move." And I was like, "Oh shit, what?" And I look out, I turn my head forward and look out, and the whole herd of elephants walks across the road right in front of our car.
Wow.
And she was like, "I am melting right now." She's like, "We have to move here."
Oh.
I'm like, your brain just went from wow to we got to move here. Like, that's a significant leap.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Don't you think?" I was like, "Maybe. What do you mean move here?" And she's like, "Well, here's the thing. Yesterday in the brochure on the table at dinner, I saw that they had a junior ranger program for kids where kids can come and learn about the animals. And then below it, it said discount for homeowners." So I said, "Homeowners." So when you went to sleep, I went online and researched what homeowners meant. And it turns out there's 4 properties for sale that we should go look at.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, you're amazing. How did your brain go from the table brochure to we should own? And she's like, and there's only one piece of land in the protected area where we obviously have to live because of our son. He's so small. I think we should buy it.
Wow.
And so we bought land in the protected area.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then we're now, developing a property and then going to build it and have a place there.
That's amazing.
But again, my wife works way faster than I do on stuff like that.
That's unbelievable.
But she's also an incredible investor, and the land's like already doubled in value since we bought it. So she's really smart on investing.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But she moves so much quicker than I do, and it's unbelievable. It blows my mind. But now that I can start to understand that's more likely to happen in these windows and less likely to happen in those windows, it's making more sense to me. So that's why I said I've learned more about her in 30 days using this tool than I have in the last 14 years of knowing her.
That's great. And do you feel even closer?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like I know how to show up. I know where there used to be tension of I like to start my day with like a slow walk in nature with the sunshine. There's certain days where she'd be out there like fidgeting. And I'm like, why can't you just enjoy the walk? And I would take it personally. Like, do you not want to spend time with me? Like, what's going on? And then I realized, no, this girl's testosterone is raging. Like, she could run 4 marathons this morning and I'm having her take a slow and rhythmic walk with me. Like, she needs to go. Like, if you've ever ridden a horse and you got a young horse that's ready to sprint, like, you got to let it run, man. And so I'm like, okay, I think I need to redo our morning routine to give you space and honor when your testosterone's surging, to get out of your way and let you rip. And on the days when, you naturally need to slow down, come take a slow walk with me. But let's honor your natural rhythm and set you up to win instead of constantly trying to manage someone and be hurt that maybe she wants to go and I want to go slow, that kind of stuff. And it's like, no. I mean, if my testosterone just went up 25%, I'd be ready to run a marathon too.
Well, exactly. Yeah, you got to utilize it while you got it. Well, that's amazing.
Literally what it says.
Yeah.
Like don't waste it on an email. Go, go, go.
That's unbelievable. That is. So what is the name of the app?
Peak, like peak performance. So peakher.ai.
Peakher, Her.
Yep.
.ai. That's amazing. Okay. So people can go check it out.
Yeah. We have a wait list. There's a handful of people on it so far.
I love this.
And hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm a new developer. So wish us luck.
You're going to be fine. I've got faith in you.
I think I'm really lucky. One of my neighbors was like number 16 at Google, and the other guy who lives close to us was a professional web coder. And so they came over and set me up to build. And the thing they taught me, I'm very grateful for, is security is the most important thing you build first for all this stuff. Yes. And so we, especially on this topic and with any personal information being shared, we treat that as the most important part of the build. So we're taking our time making sure that is radically bank grade security tight before we let it go. Yeah. And as long as that part's set up, the rest we can make better over time. But as long as it's really secure, then we feel good to start letting people on it.
Well, this was amazing. Jairek, thank you so much for taking time to come on the Next to Madison podcast and share this information that I think is going to be so insightful for people especially women, to help them understand more what's going on and how to optimize their performance.
Yeah, I'm learning about it too. It's insightful to me and hopefully all the guys who will also be interested. But I'm pumped about this one. I feel like it's going to help a lot of people.
I'm pumped for society and I'm pumped for you.
Thanks.
So I love this. Well, thank you so much for joining. So where can people find out, obviously, peakher.ai, but where else can they follow you, buy your books, all that good stuff?
Yeah. Instagram, YouTube, mainly Instagram.
Okay.
They'll get my full range from business professional to safari driver if they watch the stories.
Yep. And it's Jairek Robbins, y'all.
That's
so
right.
Make sure you look that up. This has been amazing. So definitely go check out peakher.ai and follow our friend Jairek. And this is amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you to everybody who's listening. We will see you next time to find out who's next.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.